Okay, you ever listen to those videos of the waves? Just kind of meditate. You put on these wave sounds and meditate, and maybe you can kind of just relax when you hear my words, get into the rhythm of the waves. And a lot of meditation people, it's kind of like a form of spacing out, get real relaxed, get real easy. The new age stuff that makes people feel good tends to sell a little better, right? A lot of acupuncturists that are successful, they needle you in a way that's so light and so easy, and they get the job done, but it's that, they really pamper you so that you don't quit when it hurts. And so a lot of meditation systems are about just kind of getting really easy, everything feeling good. And that's half the battle. It really is great. Like, I've told the story before. My main nutrition teacher I studied with, his name was Paul Pitchford, and when his teacher came to America from Japan to teach Zen, he got one of the big Zen masters in San Francisco, Suzuki, brought him over in the 70s. His name was Reicho Yamada from Japan. So Roshi Suzuki brought him over to teach Zen in America, and he looked around, he said, these people are way too stressed out for Zen. They need shiatsu, so we started doing acupressure and teaching acupressure, and that's how he taught my teacher, Paul Pitcher, who taught me. And so it's half the battle. The relaxation is half the battle, but the other half is going through the pain on purpose. So of the meditation styles I studied from the East, my favorite was the Chinese Zen, the Chan. And in that system, we sit in full lotus, one leg up on the thigh, the other leg up on top of that. And we sit there for a long period of time. It's incredibly painful in general. And that pain is so clearing, right? What is the pain? It's working out everything that's stuck. So we should use the waves to relax, to get in the rhythm, but we only get in the rhythm and relax in order to go through what we have to, right? So then there's people that are just kind of psycho about all just going through it, and they don't care about the pain, but there's no relaxation. That's a little too much for those of us that are a little more normal. It's probably good. It's probably better than people that just want to zone out and zombie out and feel good. But that's kind of like, if you think about it, that's how society is set up. Like, work is supposed to be hard, and you suffer for it, and you get paid for it. And then you have vacation, and it makes you survive. So with our approach, we want like that vacation feeling and that work feeling 24 hours a day. You know what I mean? In other words, however we're practicing, we really go for it. We go through whatever we need to go through, even if it's painful, but we also relax and enjoy it and take it easy. So that's kind of the best of both worlds, right? And that's the way I try to work with people in my consultations. I try to put people right through whatever they're avoiding the most, but I try to do it in a way that's fun and funny and easy. And for people that can appreciate how both sides need to get done, it's really the right fit, right? So when we practice, we can slow our breath down and lengthen our breath, smooth out our breath, and look directly at whatever we're avoiding the most that needs to be dealt with, right? A long time ago, once I had this girlfriend, and she was really kind of like troubled, So I had a friend. He played a little game with me. He said I could mellow her out. And I was like, how? And he said, I'm not going to tell you. You just got to send her to me and I'll mellow her out. It sounded a little sketchy, right? This is before I was religious, so I took a few more chances. And so I told her, why don't you talk to this guy? So they played a little game. He made her promise, you won't tell him what I'm doing with you. It doesn't sound sketchy. So she started really changing. She started mellowing out, and just like noticeable improvement, So finally, I forget why, but finally they like said what they've been doing, and it was harmless enough. He had a flotation tank. You get these tanks and you fill them with salt water and you just float in them for hours. He had a flotation tank, and he had been, just having her float alone in his tank. And they call it a sensory deprivation tank. So it's just, it's all black, it's all dark in there. You just float alone. And she's had some really, she really like learned to let go on a deeper level. And so he had me do it, and it was really interesting. I just felt this like deep terror come up when I was doing it, like really noticeable deep terror. You're just floating in this black tank, and you kind of feel unplugged. And you do it for like an hour, 2 hours, something. So I felt this really deep kind of terror, and I should do it more. I should get at it. But that's why I bring up that story, because in our practice, our Hispodadus, that means talking to God, in our meditation and our yoga, we want to go directly at what we don't want to deal with, And in that place, that's where the liberation can happen. That's a fun word they use from yoga, liberation. That's where the liberation can happen. And in the Chinese Zen, they're just saying, do what you can't do. Do what you can't do. You must do what you can't do. And they'd apply that in the Zen practice when you'd be sitting in full lotus and it just hurt so much after an hour. You say, okay, I have to move my legs, and they'd say, no, don't move your legs, just relax through it. And Dafka, the only way you could get through the pain was to relax. So that's the method in a nutshell, is do what you can't do, and do it through relaxation. So the formula sounds easy, and it is an incredibly simple formula. And as we all know, it's extremely easy to, make up excuses to get out of it. Now, I like this formula better than the just do it, the Nike formula, where people they'll go into MMA for a year and then you see them a year later and they quit totally. Like this, these are flash in the pan stuff. Who needs it? Who needs the flash in the pan stuff? We wanna slowly start now, whatever we can't do, and just chip away at it as long as it takes, with the pace that will never quit. So what's that thing? What's that thing we can just start now and chip away at and never quit? And, not a rush. Now, of course, if it's something we know we need to do, we should do it as directly and fast as possible. But what's the pace that we won't burn out at? How many stuff have we done and then burn out? How many people do we know that really did something amazing and then just burn out and quit? I heard a story today about a woman. She was younger. She was dating a guy, and he was gonna grow up and save the world, and all these great plans. And then he went on. They broke up, married different people. He went on to become a top lawyer, and he dropped all that save the world stuff, and he really blew up big. And then she ran into him years later when they were both grown up. And she said, what happened to all that? You sold out, man. And it really struck him, because they had come up together way back in the beginning, And then eventually he started some thing, some save the world project. And he told her, listen, you really helped me by calling my bluff. And so why did I tell that story? Because, how many times do we start something and then we just fizzle? We start something, we're all fired up for it, and then we just fizzle. So who needs it? Much better to be lazy about something and go about it in a lazy way that we don't quit, and then just chip away at it little by little. I have a friend who's a doctor, and he's starting a retirement community in Svat. He lives in America. He's starting a retirement community in Svat. And he just chips away at it. He chips away at it year after year. I think it's going to happen, though. He really seems committed. So yeah, the speed of the glaciers, the glaciers are moving, but it's really slow. The earth is spinning, but it's, we don't notice it. So I'm more impressed by commitment than I am by flash in the pan stuff. With all the Olympics, I just catch a glimpse of it. It doesn't hold me. Like, who cares? Who cares? Okay, that gay ice skater can do that incredible jump where he kicks his leg up in the air, and in 20 years, where's he going to be teaching other kids to jump up in the air and kick their legs in the air? Like, it's not so sustainable. Okay, yeah, it's fun to teach people to excel, but why did I end up a Torah Jew? Because through a whole lot of trial and error, I deduced that this was like the big competition, that everything else I could work in or train in just wasn't as important, right? Yeah, an ice skater might pull off amazing things during their time on Earth, but when they die and they face God, and God says, "Okay, what do you got to give me?" They say, "Listen, I taught a lot of kids to ice skate. I don't know how much it's going to hold up. I wouldn't take my chances." So we all want a good thing. We all want a solid thing. And the question is, what thing is most solid? What thing is most solid? So we want to practice in a way that's sustainable, even if it's a little more boring. I'm here on a little bit of a break from Israel, so I checked out the local yoga studios. I don't know, just nothing. It just all looks, it all looks so flash to me. I was in the yoga scene in America, and then why did I get into the Qigong Tai Chi scene? It seemed just like it had more roots, like more slow and steady, less pop, less flash. The deeper I try to go in, the less I'm taken by flash. Now, don't get me wrong. Like everyone, I have a corruptible side that I haven't conquered yet. But I can tell you, I think I'm killing it little by little because, you look at these things that might have held you in the past, you just think like, oh, who cares, We should be detached from everything that's not crucial, and we should be completely attached to what is crucial. That's the whole game. Yeah. All right.